Okay, everybody, hi. It's 2:30. I'm going to start on time. I'm Connie Sullivan, President of the Palestine Democrats. I want to welcome you on this Sunday before the week that Trump is going to be arrested. All right, that's according to him, so it takes that with a grain of salt. Anyway, yeah, could be really crazy. Yes, I'd like our board members to raise their hands if you're in the room, raise their virtual hands if you're on the Zoom. People who do so much work every month to make this happen. We have a really, this is a meeting that we normally do in April to align with the thing, but we had a scheduling thing, so we had to do. We're doing it today. It's just going to be just as good today as it would be in April. Our meeting today, so the topic of our meeting is how to equitably grow rooftop solar everywhere for everyone with batteries. Before that, though, we're going to get a few announcements. And before that, though, I don't see any elected officials in the room. Do we have any on the Zoom? So Judy Mitchell, former Judy Mitchell, former city council person and mayor for Rolling Hill Estates. I understand. Okay, so our first announcement will be a remembrance of Rasha Hall, and Kathy Bradford is going to say a few words.
Rasha Hall, a longtime PV Democrats member, passed away on March 7th after a lifelong battle with lung disease. It was her 83rd birthday. Rasha served as secretary, vice president, president of the PV Democrats over the last 6 years. She was an avid supporter of democratic ideals, campaign events, and candidates, and showed up for rallies, marches, and fundraising events. She held meet and greet meetings for Elmer Asuci and other candidates in her home, and she actively recruited others into the club, including me. Rasha went to Antioch College, where she met the love of her life, David Hall, in chemistry class. She frequently said that David was the only thing she got out of her required chemistry class. They were married 3 years later and were able to celebrate their 67th wedding anniversary in September. Rasha had BA degrees in math and teaching and was a math teacher at PV high schools for many years. She loved her students and continued to tutor math students for 14 years after retirement. Many of her former students were Facebook buddies as well. Rasha was a good friend of many people. She never forgot anyone's birthday, even as she often joked it was her tradition to send cards late, and frequently brought people together by hosting parties and celebrations. For 50 years, she and David hosted large high holiday gatherings and Passover Seders, always making space for anyone who needed somewhere to go. And in recent years, Rasha organized a lunch bunch with some friends. She was an active member of Congregation Ner Tamid, where she took classes in Hebrew for 3 years. She was passionately interested in preserving her Jewish cultural heritage. Rasha was also a board member of the Palos Verde charity group Help the Homeless Help Themselves from the 1980s to 2015, serving as treasurer for many years and president for 2. After it ended, she maintained an active interest and support in several of the charities that HHHT supported, including the South Bay Outreach Center, House of Yahweh of Lawndale, and Rainbow Services, a domestic violence health service out of San Pedro. Rasha is survived by her husband and PV Democrats mayor David Hall, children Rana Harris, Cheryl, Darren, and Lori Hall, her children's spouses, granddaughters Mara Harris, Paige Harris, Eileen Hall, and brothers Mordecai and Jack Leibovitz. In lieu of flowers, those wishing to honor Rasha's memory are encouraged to donate to the American Jewish World Service, Citizens Climate Education, or the justice or ecological organization of your choosing. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Rasha Hall in 2009 as a member of the nominating committee for the Palos Verdes Democrats, called me up and asked me if I wanted to join the board as newsletter chairperson. Told me I wouldn't have to write anything, that all I have to do is edit other people's work, but I didn't just fall off the turnip truck, I knew better than that. And I did join, and yeah, rest is history. Rasha was our Energizer bunny. I mean, that lady, in spite of her long-standing lung illness, just kept going and going and going. And she was a major philanthropist up here on the Hill, and also, obviously, majorly involved in the club. And we'll really, really miss her. Next slide, please. I have to do that. Okay, so we have a convention coming up. The state party has a convention coming up in May, the end of May, and so the party has put out a call for volunteers. If you'd be interested in doing that, that's going to be May 26th to 28th at the convention center, and also the Marriott. But if you volunteer, you want to be in the convention center, be sure to tell them you want to be in the room. Right? We need over 500 volunteers. The very first time I ever went to a convention was as a volunteer. I think I had more fun that time than all the times I've been there as a delegate. It was really fun. Is this for Carol or for me? Oh, I'm doing this, okay.
Connie, can you adjust the mic? It's hard to hear. I think it needs to be higher or lower.
This one or that one? It's that one. Can you hear me now, Steve?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Huh?
Tell him to switch this.
Oh, you need to switch yours. This is very technically difficult. California Democratic Party has developed a leadership opportunity for people who want to train other Democrats in organizing skills, such as phone banking, volunteer management and recruitment, and using new tools and resources that the party has developed. And I can't tell you what they are. I do recall sitting through a seminar where they were described, and it was pretty impressive. So if you're interested in being a trainer, you have to be a registered Democrat, and they will check on that. Someone who's comfortable speaking in front of groups, reliable is always helpful, familiar with the community that you're trying to organize, eager to learn and teach, and able to use a virtual meeting software, probably Zoom. If that sounds like you, please apply before April 15th, and you can find the link on our website. You need to move down for me. Another announcement from the California Democratic Party. This is Women's History Month, as you probably know. And so there's going to be a luncheon next Saturday downtown at the Sheraton Grand. And a whole lot of luminaries are going to be there, including Dr. Shirley Weber, our Secretary of State, including our State Controller, Malia Cohen, County Supervisor Hilda Solis, and then at the bottom there, you see Carolyn Fowler. She is the caucus chair for the Women's Caucus at the California Democratic Party, and she's also running for controller of the state party. Did I skip the slide?
No.
No, I think I did. At the next convention, we're going to be electing regional directors and a state controller, because our controller of the party, not the entire state, because that woman stepped down because she's got a job in Washington, D.C., and we're going to be electing the party's secretary as well. So Carolyn Fowler is running for controller. I've endorsed Carolyn Fowler. If you're a delegate, please consider voting for Carolyn Fowler. And also, I'm running for regional director, so please vote for me. We'll see how that goes. And
No, we went too far. We were on the PDP.
you're right. Thank you. Glad you've memorized these. Big help. So a lot of you probably know that at the March 8th school board meeting, there was an issue that cropped up. I should back up. About 2 weeks before the school board meeting, I got a call from a school board insider alerting me to the fact that there was a move afoot to try to ban a book. The title of the book is Too Bright to See. It's a book that was read to a class of 5th graders at Vista Grande School, and the subject matter was about a girl going through gender dysphoria and eventually deciding that she was a boy. And there was a group afoot by some parents to try to get that book banned. However, by the time I received this phone call, they realized they can't ban a book that's on the state's recommended list, right, by the Department of Education.
Hallelujah, God.
So they can't ban it, but so they were thinking of a workaround, which was to get school board member Julie Hamill, who thinks like they do, to get the school board to set up a curriculum committee they were calling it a Brown Act curriculum committee. There's already a curriculum advisory board that parents sit on, but that has no teeth apparently, and they wanted something with more teeth. And so that was what was on the agenda for March 8th. Tons of people showed up. The Gay Straight Alliances from the school showed up. A lot of teachers showed up. The people on the other side, the book banning people, also showed up, maybe 10 of those. 40 speakers in all, according to the newspaper. The students and the teachers were amazing. And I've never been to a school board or city council or any kind of meeting that could compare to this one. These people were so eloquent. And it was just a really wonderful experience. So it took about 2 hours for everybody to go through the 3-minute talks. If you have 2 hours to spare, I would recommend it. It's really amazing school board meeting. But in the end, when they finally took up the item, they voted against. I'm not even sure it came to a vote, but anyway, they decided not to set up the committee. So there we are, round 1, and what I expect to be many more rounds of stuff like this coming to our school board. Okay, now our activism chair is going to give us a word.
Well, this isn't the first time that I'm talking about the Wisconsin State Supreme Court. We've got 16 days to deliver Janet to the Supreme Court seat, and we need all of you to be involved.
You just stand closer to the microphone.
Okay, thank you.
Much closer. Thank you.
God. Okay, anyhow, it's 16 days to the election, which is April the 4th. Early voting starts on this Tuesday, March 21st, for the state Supreme Court, which I've mentioned before, is going to determine what's going to happen in this battleground state. And also what happens to women's reproductive rights in the state, because they have an 1849 complete abortion ban that was a trigger law that went into effect when Roe versus Wade was shot down. And this is what's at stake, because if the Republican gets elected, it's going to become law for the state of Wisconsin. So I encourage all of you, if you have any extra money to spare, send it to the Wisconsin Democratic Party. If you have time to spare, think about phone banking or writing postcards, because we really need to get the vote out. So I want to thank you all, and I promise next month I will talk about another activism activity. Okay? And by the way, reminder to all, phone banking at my house tomorrow, 1:30. Love to see you there. Thank you.
I think this is a repeat. I forgot to mention that this Sunday, we will be having the Assembly District Democrats will be meeting for breakfast at Mimi's at 10 a.m. this coming Sunday. Not today. So now, this is where I turn the meeting over to our program chair, Ann Nye.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ann, and I'm PB Dems VP 2, second VP. I just want to say that even though we didn't do this on Earth Day, every day should be Earth Day. Every day we should be talking about the climate. So we're going to have a lot of meetings talking about climate warming. But next month, we are also going to talk about homelessness, and we're talking. The focus is on a proposition that's going to be on the 2024 ballot that got passed by the legislature. And Ben Allen was the sponsor of this Constitutional Amendment 2, which has to do with housing equity. So, I thought we should start talking about things there's going to be a lot of stuff on our 2024 ballot. We're all going to need to do a lot of research. But anyway, so I thought we should start talking about some of those items. So he's going to talk about his homelessness constitutional amendment, as well as, he's been our crusader on plastic, so I'm sure he'll talk about that. And he just took a trip to Maine and I forget the other state in terms of what they're doing about recycling plastics. So I'm sure that will come up. But we also we have the co-sponsor of this constitutional amendment, the YIMBY group, which is Yes in My Backyard. And so we have Constantine Hatcher, who's going to be joining us as well. Okay, so please save that date, put it on your calendar.